Today, two teams clawing for a foothold in the five. Penrith are in 5th spot, thanks to consecutive wins over Balmain and Parramatta. Graham Mackay is in blockbusting form on the wing, Matt Adamson is growing in confidence at fullback, and the scheming Gary Freeman is forever testing his opponent's resolve. The powerful Brad Fittler, now captain, has shifted to lock. Strong-running Barry Walker will cart it up all day, and ever-alert Danny Farah is the hard-working dummy half. Manly is 2 points behind Penrith, and unconvincing form, 2 losses in their last 3 games, has taken the steam out of their grand final expectations. Matthew Ridge is as steady as a rock. Cliff Lyons, the artful dodger, and Jeff Tooby, back from injury, should be ready to produce his best. Owen Cunningham at lock is never off the ball. Ian Roberts' return adds steel to the pack, and Mark Carroll has been wreaking havoc among rival front rows. Live from Penrith Stadium, the Panthers versus the Sea Eagles. Hello everyone, welcome to the Penrith Football Stadium here in the far west of Sydney at the foot of the mountains for a very important game between Manly and Penrith. Penrith have had good wins over Balmain and Parramatta, but today it's Manly, and Jacko, you'd have to say they're up in class.
Oh, certainly Manly are a classy side. Any team with the likes of Ridge, Hill, Lyons, Tuvey, Roberts, Gillespie and Carroll is certainly a good outfit, but the thing about Manly is they're very desperate to win. They're only on 7 points, and if they don't win today, they'll start to lose touch with the leader, so that could be a problem for the Panthers.
Certainly, but on the other hand, Penrith, I mean, do you think they can go on with it this season?
Well, their supporters expect a lot. The purchase of Freeman and Gilmeister have given them a stronger pack. And look for Freeman today, once again, to play that real blue heel, that real cattle dog role. And Freddie Fittler, captain of the Panthers, 21 years of age, unbelievable. Kangaroo Tour, State of Origins, and now he's captain of his beloved Panthers. Look to him also to have a big game.
In fairly warm conditions here too out at Penrith this afternoon, not much breeze, and the players are going to work pretty hard over the space of 80 minutes. And now good afternoon to Debbie Spillane and Johnny Peard.
Thanks, Warren. Well, as you say, it's been more like a summer's day running late than an actual late autumn day, but it's a little bit balmier on the sideline now. Feeble breeze, as you said, that won't come into play at least in the first half. Johnny Peard, a lot of people are writing Manly off on the strength of last week's game, but of course Ian Roberts, Jack Elsgood and David O'Donnell, the changes in the side to the run-on lineup for last week. What differences will they make?
Well, I think Manly got the best side they've had for many weeks, and if the passes stick today, Penrith will find it very tough to really contain Manly. They're valuable players, and I think Manly can get away with this one.
Penrith are keeping an ace up the sleeve, though, with Greg Alexander on the bench. Why do you think they're using him in that way now?
Oh, with a few of his personal problems recently. I think it's the best place for Greg. He's a real strike player, and if Phil Gould injects him into the game at crucial stages, I'm sure he'll make his presence felt.
That's it from the sideline. Back to you, Warren and Jacko.
Yes, it's a tremendous bench, isn't it? Phil Adamson and Greg Alexander for Penrith. And here come the Panthers. The fullback is Matt Adamson, Graham Mackay on one wing, Ryan Girdler and Matt Singh, this new centre pairing. Robbie Beckett on the other wing, Steve Carter at 5'8", Gary Freeman halfback, Brad Fittler at lock forward. There's plenty of experience around their scrum-based trio. Jason Litton and Trevor Gilmeister in the second row, Barry Walker, Danny Farah and Carl McNamara in the front row. So, of course, a big reception for the Panthers in front of their home crowd. It's been quite a distance for Manly to travel from the coast down here to Penrith. And here they come. And you can hear the reception from the crowd. Matthew Ridge is the fullback. Craig Hancock on one wing. Danny Moore and Terry Hill in the centres. Jack Elsgood back from injury on the wing. Cliff Lyons at 5'8". Jeff Tuvey at halfback and the captain. Owen Cunningham in at lock forward. Ian Roberts alongside young Stephen Menzies in the second row. Mark Carroll, David O'Donnell and David Gillespie. Plenty of experience in that front row, Jacko.
Certainly is. Some big guys, some big hitters. Mark Carroll, David Gillespie, two of the biggest hitters in the game. But one thing about Manly this afternoon, they've really, a couple of players have to be on their last chance or close to their last chance. Cliffy Lyons will be looking for a big game this afternoon. We haven't seen the best of him since Western Suburbs.
So the national anthem to be played.
Froze up then.
There's Greg Alexander and Phil Adamson, and in front of them John Cartwright, who's out injured. But Johnny Cartwright should be back in 2 or 3 weeks, getting over ankle ligament damage. The referee for the match is Bill Harrigan. We've had Bill Harrigan in a number of our Saturday afternoon matches this season already. Still vying with Greg McCallum for the #1 job. Representative games ahead. And away we go. Matthew Ridge gets it downfield. And I really think it's going to be important for the Penrith forwards to fire up here. There's plenty of firepower in the Manly pack. They've got to match them, and the first tackle knocks Gary Freeman back. It was Robertson Cunningham in there quickly. Now Gillespie up in defence very smartly on top of Walker. Jason Liddon, who's been on the bench recently for Penrith, but he's in the starting lineup today. Danny Farah in a dummy half, gets it out to Walker again, up to the 30-metre line. Of course, this is the first game where the two divisions start to meet each other. We've had 7 games where they've been playing within their divisions. Now we start to see the test of the strength of the two divisions up against each other. High kick from Adamson, downfield, getting plenty of height and depth. Pushes Ridge back. That's a great kick.
Well, it's a great start for the Penrith Panthers. Nice solid set of 6. Trevor Gilmister taking a tough one up. Then Matt Adamson, what a huge kick that was. Ricky Stewart be proud of that one.
Jack Elsgood coming back into the side. He was concussed in the Craig Field tackle 2 weeks ago. Missed last week's game.
Looking for a big game, Jack Elsgood. Mark Carroll taking a ruck up there. Jack Elsgood, of course, would be on the minds of the City selectors who make their decision Sunday night. Must be a frontline contender for one of the wing spots in the City Origin side.
And so, too, the last 2 fellas taking the ball up. First it was Mark Carroll and now Terry Hill. They'll be out to impress today as well. Gillespie shuffles back in towards the centre of the field, unloads to O'Donnell. Now they swing it out to Tuvey, straightens it up, but there's no way through there, Jeff Tuvey. Big tackle. Trevor Gilmister, the axe, cuts him down. Ridge with the kick, searching down the touchline. Graham Mackay is across, so too is Adamson. Matt Adamson now brings it back. He's been in the fullback spot since Greg Alexander had to pull out for a few games, and Matt Adamson is really consolidating his position in the side with some strong performances. Now Matt Singh.
It's probably fair to say that Greg Alexander would come straight back into any Penrith side. It's only been the good form of Adamson at fullback that's kept him on the bench. Talking about fullbacks, Johnny, as you see Danny Farah going for a little scoot after a nice unload from Barry Walker. Quickly, fullback for the City Origin side, Johnny Peard, your tip, Eddinghausen, Brasher, or one of the regular fullbacks?
Either Eddinghausen or Brasher, I guess, would be my tip at this stage. Both experienced player. I like the way Brasher's playing at the moment.
As Ridge brings it back. And if we check the season's points so far, remembering that they have not been playing, as I said, against each other, different opposition, but you can see that Manly have a superior attacking record. They've scored 165 points to Penrith's 120, but Manly have also conceded more points. Penrith, a tight defence, have given away just 101 points. Manly have conceded 131.
Of course, Peter, the other fullback that I think is playing the best of his career is Rod Silver. And I don't think he'd be out of a state of origin, Josie.
Well, certainly we see Mark Carroll come out with a spill ball, and ball control's been Manly's problem. Freddie Fittler.
To Matt Singh now. Singh almost away, cut down from behind, loses the ball. Danny Farah dives on it. So an exciting piece of play there for Penrith from the Mark Carroll mistake. But yes, Jacko, you mentioned the ball control. That's been what has been hampering Manly. They have a great attack. We saw that when they thrashed West. But since then, they've struggled to really just have that cohesion in attack, and they've been coughing it up too often.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's the right word, Warren. The lack of cohesion in attack, I think, has really been evident, especially last week against Canberra when they were done by a 12-man outfit. But this man, Dave O'Donnell, he'll give them some more impetus around the dummy half area. He's a fine player.
Scott Fulton on the injured list has a sternum problem, so O'Donnell in at 5'8" today. As the kick down towards Mackay. Now, this guy has been absolutely red-hot recently, but he's given no room at all that time by Craig Hancock. Good tackle. He really has just taken the game by the scruff of the neck lately, Graham Mackay, and I tell you what, I wouldn't want to be marking him.
No, I don't think the coach would want you marking him either, Warren, if I was your coach.
He can always wear his headgear, Peter.
Yeah. They used to call him Speed Bump, didn't they, Peardy?
Here's Matt Singh getting a nice pass back inside to Jack Elsgood. Singh already looking quite dangerous, and he's settled into this side well. Penrith have just started to find the right players in the right positions lately. Again, with Alexander out and the move of Fittler into lock forward, they've settled on Girdler and Singh as the centres, and they seem to be doing the job. But a test today up against Moore and Hill.
Yeah, Moore and Hill, two big, robust centres as well. They'll be both looking for big games. But Brad Fittler at lock forward, I like that. I think that's his best spot, lock forward. He needs to be involved. We see Gary Freeman just punch a little grubber to the touchline. Nice little kick for Penrith. But Brad Fittler at captain and lock forward, I think we could see him there for a long, long time to go with the Penrith Panthers. And
in the early games today, a couple of good performances. And in the President's Cup, Penrith defeating Manly 15 points to 8. And in reserve grade, Manly defeating Penrith 20 points to 8, and that was a top 5 clash. Penrith were leading Manly in reserve grade, and so they were slightly upset, I suppose you could say, with that win. Roberts trying to show the dummy, but no way Penrith were falling for that one. Ian Roberts missed last week with continuing knee problems.
Stephen Menzies, there's a dark horse for one of the city sides, I believe. Stephen Menzies been Manly. As Davey O'Donnell goes for a grubber, little run from dummy half.
Tremendous stepping, and there's Carroll alongside him. Now Cunningham, 30 metres out, they close quickly, and he's killed by the two wingers, Mackay and Beckett. Absolutely sandwiched him, but now it's a quick play the ball. Carroll to Ridge, they've got numbers here. Lyons hops up with Hill, the Hancock steps beautifully. That's a great try if he's got it down. Craig Hancock has done everything there to score that try. Just brilliant play by the winger. Tremendous start by O'Donnell when he made the break. He beat 2 or 3 as he cut them up the centre. Then they shoveled it wide. And beautiful football. They had the numbers, but Craig Hancock still had a lot of work to do when he got this ball. And Manly lead by 4 points to 0.
Here we see, that's after the Dave O'Donnell break. Mark Carroll spinning it wide. Ridge now, Cliffy Lyons. Cliffy Lyons just pops it to Terry Hill. The winger comes in, Hancock, he beats one, Steve Carter goes high and comes up with a good try. A good effort by Craig Hancock.
Well, when you take the ball 3 metres out from the line and the cover's quickly sweeping across, you know you've got a lot of work to do. Beautiful hands there from Terry Hill, but Carter couldn't get hold of him, and then the tackle from Mackay, and he got it down well to Hancock. He almost lost it.
Now, we look here in defence. If we just have a quick look at number 3, Ryan Girdler. Now, Ryan Girdler really needed to stay out on Terry Hill here. I needed to stay out on Hancock and let Steve Carter look after Terry Hill. He didn't do that. He came in on Hill. He drew the man, and Hancock's over in the corner. Fine start for the Eagles.
Now, Matthew Ridge has points in the bank for Manly, but this is a difficult one. He's kicked 82% of them this year, and this is a good-looking kick. Just misses. Very, very close from Ridge. And he is one asset that Manly have in this game. Manly lead 4 points to 0.
And here's the ruck that set it up. Look at O'Donnell. Look, McNamara took his eyes off him, started to follow the flow of the ball. Good run by O'Donnell, but that's a nice little right-hand flick. Mark Carroll did well to back up. And, of course, there was a bit of pace there from O.J. Cunningham. And, of course, from this ruck, a great start to Manly.
And the restart of play has gone dead on the fall from Penrith. And the penalty goes to Manly back at halfway.
Well, they're real coach killers, those sort of kickoffs. I mean, especially when there's no breeze or little breeze to talk about. Really inexcusable mistake by Penrith.
And it looks like another restart, but this is Matthew Ridge's new style of finding touch from penalties. A place kick. And he's picked up, let's see, he's picked up 14 metres. Now, is it really worth it, Matthew? I ask you, and as far as I'm concerned, they should just ban it. Change the rule. Don't let them do it. It's a waste of time. If they pick up another 5 metres, well, congratulations. It just slows the game down. He's picked up 14 metres there from centre field. I'll give him that.
No, I don't know. I don't know if it wastes that much time. What, 5 seconds?
Jacko, it's come and gone.
You got 5 seconds in your life.
We've seen Jack Gibson's teams try it, and it comes and goes, and it soon passes. It's just a fad, and I really don't think for the extra metres that it's worth it. Anyway.
We'll let it rest at that.
Let's go on with Ian Roberts. He slammed down only 11 metres out, so Manly are back on the attack already. Tuvey out to Lyons. Inside runner is Danny Moore. Slips a nice ball away. Fumbled back by Gillespie. Well, the referee says it was knocked on, but I thought that's a tough call on David Gillespie, and he does too.
He lets Bill Harrigan know. Big David Gillespie got number 8 on today, had number 54 on last week. Here we have a look at it. Danny Moore pops one up. It was very hard to see in that. Oh, no, definitely a knockback, I believe.
Unless there was a touch from Ridge, but it didn't appear that way. So Penrith relieved, the pressure off for a moment. Fittler. Cunningham's got hold of him.
Warren, I think the big danger playing with Manly, you can't let them score earlier. So I think McNamara or Barry Walker's made an error there from a bad pass. You just can't let Manly score early in the game because you know they're going to be at their most dangerous, and there's that pass. It's well forward of McNamara. But you can't let Manly score because you know they're going to be more dangerous as the half goes on. Just as the defences get a little bit tired, they come into their own, especially with this fella Lyons.
And Lyons has found Hill trying to get outside Girdler, and he's out of the tackle, still going Terry Hill. He's very strong. You think of his pace, but he's also a very strongly built setter, Terry Hill. Only 10 metres out, and Penrith have made two crucial mistakes, and Manly are right on the attack. First, they kicked out on the full, dead on the full, and then the bad pass from the dummy half as Carroll thunders towards the post. 2 metres out. Most of Manly's attack on this side of the field. Tuvey. Decoy was Gillespie. Now Lyons holds it up for Ridge. Had managed to create an overlap, but the defence looked after Ridge, who hesitated. Ridge holds on to Freeman. Lyons goes in amongst the forward, pops it up for Ridge. Now it's Danny Moore, looks for Elsegood, finds O'Donnell. O'Donnell for the line, just short. Last tackle now coming up for Manly. Men running wide for Manly to try and get to the position. Ridge has done beautifully here. Now Terry Hill out to Hancock, just behind him, held him up. Hancock's kick forces them to knock it dead. Steve Carter was across. But tremendous credit here to Matthew Ridge. He was trapped right on this touchline. He realised that the chance was on the far side, and he's raced across field to give them the chance to create an overlap.
He's a tremendous reader of the play. I thought Graham Mackay might have blown that by coming in on Terry Hill, but Hancock, good option. A little chip ahead, follows through, but who's there to clean up? Steve Carter, the dog. We'll hear more from the dog at half-time. I mean the dog, I mean that in the nicest possible fashion. They call him the dog because the way he plays like a cattle dog, always biting at the heels of the opposition players.
Bit of a Mick Neal type player.
Very much so. Probably a bit more nippier than old Ginger Meggs, but still a very good worker for the Penrith side.
And now it's Robertson. He thrusts his way through the front line. Beautiful pass back to Hill, to Hancock now. O'Donnell, they're keeping it alive beautifully here, Manly. Hancock once more, taken from behind. They're running them ragged here, Manly with a back line. Wide and deep. Penrith stretched. 20 metres out. Tuvey goes himself. Taken to ground by Walker. Jeff Tuvey may have had second thoughts about it if he could have had that play again. Lyons switches it across the ruck to Ridge. The dummy. Fine tackle by McNamara over the top and Liddon underneath. 8 out. O'Donnell to Carroll. Well, Manly have started this game very well, but Penrith gave them the opportunity with those mistakes. Last tackle now. Tuvey to Lyons. The kick for Menzies. It's missed by the winger. Chance here for Elsegood. Try time for Manly. It went straight underneath Robbie Beckett, who tried to dive on the loose ball. Perfectly judged. Length of the kick from Manly, and Jack Elsegood flying through. There were 2 or 3 chances for Manly to score this try. Once it went through Beckett. Manly 8. Penrith 0. Concerted pressure here from Manly. They've applied it. They've been down camped in Penrith 20. And look at Cliff Lyons here. Pops a lovely kick through. Stephen Menzies giving chase, but there's the mistake. Beckett over the top of it. And if it wasn't Elsegood, it was going to be another Manly player to score.
Yeah, Cliffy Lyons putting through. The old master needs a big game this afternoon. 2 tries in 6 minutes. Oh, Robbie Beckett, he just missed it completely. Where is that ball, he says, as Elsegood puts it down in the corner. 2 tries in 6 minutes to the Manly Seagulls, and when they're in this sort of mood, they're very hard to counter. There it is, Chip. A little, oh, see, Robbie Beckett just completely missed that one. And Jack Elsegood, that try won't do his representative chances any harm.
Jack Elsegood, still only 20 years old. Now here's Ridge. He missed his first shot at goal, but very narrowly from a similar position on the other side of the field. And this just skims the upright as well. But it's 2 tries to Manly, no tries to Penrith, and Manly lead 8-0, 15 minutes gone.
Well, this is just the result of concerted pressure by the Manly side. Put it down to Craig Hancock's nice little chip in the in goal. That enabled Manly to get another 6 tackles. They've really worked the Penrith defence over. Look at the Manly players in the picture. There's 3 of them there that could have scored.
Now, Matt Adamson will be careful with this restart, and it's going to land safely in the field of play. To be honest, I'm not absolutely sure that it was Matt Adamson who started play when the ball was kicked dead, but we saw him earlier punt a ball very high and deep, and I think he just had too much behind the previous restart. Cunningham takes the tackle. There's Phil Gould. Must be worried at this early trend in the game, because Manly are finding that the ball control is there today. The attack is very, very hot at the moment.
Manly are the sort of side that when they do get their ball control right, when the passes do stick, as John Peard said in the opener, when their passes do stick, they're almost impossible to stop from scoring at least 1 or 2 tries.
Menzies stops and starts and a stutter. Can't break the defence though, as Fittler wraps him up over the top. McNamara underneath. O'Donnell, after a slow play the ball to Ridge, forces Adamson back. And there's plenty of chases downfield. Elsgood, nice low tackle, cuts out his legs. Twice Manly have had a deep, wide backline. They're trying to stretch the Penrith defence, but they've elected to just hit it up and then use the kick instead.
Well, I think that's a good ploy early up to not get one. You see Danny Ferry going for a bit of a burl.
Steve Carter finds Girdler. Hancock gets him. The pass inside for Mackay is picked up by Manly. Terry Hill's got it. They're only 30 metres out. A chance for Penrith that went astray, and suddenly they're under pressure once more. Menzies to Moore. Ridge, winger unmarked outside him. Now it's Danny Moore to Lyons. Elsgood gets the ball this time, takes off. Only 15 metres out. Again, Penrith on the ropes. They've given away a penalty. Jason Liddon and Freeman holding down Elsgood, and Bill Harrigan will call out Gary Freeman and Brad Fittler as the captain.
You see the tackle there now. Gary Freeman just niggling tactics. Whiz, not on at all. There's always going to be a penalty for that. And obviously the touch judge using his new walkie-talkie two-way CB system to get in contact with Bill Harrigan and giving the mail about that little, really a finicky little tap to the head that was just really a niggling thing that was never going to cause any pain and was only ever going to get a penalty.
And Manly decide to go for the try. Ridge has missed 2 shots at goal, but both times shaved the posts. Manly decide they won't go for 2. They're going for 4 or even 6. Roberts holds it up, doesn't give it to Cunningham. Cunningham is almost giving himself up as almost a shepherd. Tooby now. Tooby sights the opening. Puts on the try for Hancock. He gets it down. And the 3rd try scored by Manly. And we've only had 18 minutes of play. Craig Hancock gets his 2nd. A little opening appeared for Jeff Tooby. He scooted through it. Thought that he might have been able to make it himself, but then threw the pass out to his unmarked winger. Well, Penrith in real trouble here.
Here we see Dave O'Donnell now. There is a big call from the Penrith crowd for a shepherd here. As we see, no one was impeded. There was no obstruction there. Ian Roberts has a look around and says, how am I going, Bill? How about I unload that ball to Desi O'Donnell? Dave O'Donnell goes for a bit of a try. He's been a big difference today, Des O'Donnell. David O'Donnell. Now, Jeff Tooby, the Manly fans will be loving this. He takes off through that gap. Perhaps last year Jeff Tooby would have scored himself, but unselfishly unloads from Hancock, who goes over for his 2nd try in the corner.
2nd try in 9 minutes, and they're doing everything right here, Manly. And that, as you called it, Jacko, it wasn't a shepherd, even though both of the Manly players nearly gave themselves up. But O'Donnell did well to back up here, and I wonder whether Tooby could have beaten Steve Carter to the line there. It would have been neck and neck, but Hancock, 2 tries as Ridge attempts the conversion, and it's just away again. He's been all around the uprights, but he's missed with 3. And Manly, 3 tries, all of them unconverted, lead 12-0.
Yeah, Penrith are anticipating a shepherd here, but let's give some credit to Ian Roberts. Look, there's 1 tackler, Liddon, 2, and 3 comes in. Danny Farr a bit late. Tremendous right-hand flip-off. Carter just wasn't good enough to go with Tooby. Got in behind the line. Girdler and Mackay were out of business. They were on the wrong side of the ball. And this very underrated winger, Craig Hancock, gets a double.
Yeah, good call, John Peard. Very underrated winger, Craig Hancock, and he deserves a few more raps, and he gets sort of overshadowed a bit by the glamour boy Jack Elsgood, but you give the ball to Craig Hancock and there's a try on. 99 times out of 100, he'll get the 4 points.
He's only 24, Craig Hancock. A couple of years ago, we said that he was already 30, and we got a letter from a supporter of his And we'd been misinformed by the player information, but Craig Hancock's still got plenty of years ahead of him. He's by no means into his 30s. Lyons.
Now there's a bloke who definitely is into his 30s. Cliff Lyons, we can be sure about that one.
And not a grey hair to be seen.
He dyes it like you, Peardy.
He's only 32, Cliffy.
One thing Manly are doing very well, down the right-hand side of the field, they're using Terry Hill. The third time he's been used just to hit the ball up. When you're 15 half-stone with a bit of pace, I don't care who you are, you don't like tackling guys with that sort of momentum.
We can check the total tackles to indicate the run of possession here. It's been all Manly with the ball. Penrith have made 69 tackles to Manly's 36. Manly now called on to do a bit of defence as Barry Walker's going to leave the field. Freeman trying to spark this attack. Fittler feeds it out to Singh. Now it's Adamson. Phil Adamson on the field, number 40. Beckett to Freeman. Gilmister, they work at the centre field. Liddon beats a tackle and stepping away from Cliff Lyons. The crowd going for a high tackle, but they've got to be kidding themselves. Cliff barely touched him. Pulled right out of any attempt at a tackle. Back it goes. Ridge allows it to go dead. Well done by Matthew Ridge.
And that's a fairly ordinary kick there by Gary Freeman. I doubt whether that was ever really going to stick into this in-goal area. And Gary Freeman perhaps a little bit off his game this afternoon. Here we go to see Terry Hill making a bust. Geez, he's big. He moves well, Terry Hill.
Another indication of possession. Manly have had the ball for 36 hit-ups to Penrith's 10. And Penrith have only had 3 sets or so with the ball. Now here goes a penalty to Manly.
Warren, I should let you know that was a blood bin replacement for Penrith.
Yeah, here we see it was a hand in there by one of the Adamson brothers. Well, Terry Hill, I suppose you could say he milked that. He did a Benny Elias. Come and try us.
Ridge kicks for touch. Picks up about 23 metres that time. Carroll. 10 metres inside Penrith's half, where Manly have been camped. O'Donnell has already made one break. Here's another. Gillespie steps off his left. The referee calls it back for a forward pass. Well, I thought it was okay.
Well, it looked okay to me. I tell you what, the bloke that will be most dirty about that is David Gillespie. What about the sidestep from Spillane off the left foot? Michael O'Connor, eat your heart out. Here we see, oh, this was a good ball. Nothing wrong with it. Look at the sidestep from Spillane. Oh, he'll have that one down on tape for the rest of his life.
He'll probably call for the head-on shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, tough call there. The pass was certainly flat at worst. Came back from the hand.
If Dave Gillespie sidestepping like that, could have scored a try.
Girdler, taken by Danny Moore. Ryan Girdler showed some real form last week in a good win over Parramatta.
It might be an advantage to the Manly side that David O'Donnell hasn't been in first grade recently, and maybe Phil Gould and his team have just gone to sleep in that area, that marker area. If you're playing against guys like Benny Elias and company, you tend to sharpen up at training during the week. I think it's an area they really have to watch.
Fittler holds it up for McNamara, trying to get the pass away, but the defence swarmed all over the top. It was Cunningham. Last tackle now. Freeman hops it through. Ridge and Elsgood watch it trail over the sideline. So at least Penrith have completed a set of 6, steadying the play down. But Freeman looks a worried man.
Here we see Gary Freeman putting a really sort of a half-hearted chip and half-hearted kick for line, really. Didn't really know what he was up to there, but no, Penrith, to me, look like they're lacking a little bit of organisation.
Yeah, Peter, that's the third kick that's been absolutely ineffective. There's Alexander on the sideline, hoping probably to get into the action. And I guess Phil Gould will be looking to use him shortly. 12-0 down.
And here comes Greg Alexander, and Steve Carter has a rest.
That's another blood bin for you. Warren is a big cut behind his ear.
Well, it may have been just very handy timing anyway for Phil Gould, because the way Penrith are playing, he might have thought. But Greg Alexander is what he needs out there to organise this attack, put some spark into it.
They haven't been getting full use out of the last ruck, and that's the most important ruck of the whole 6-6 tackle. Manly doing something on their 6 as Owen Cunningham drops the ball. Penrith just surrendering possession through ineffective kicking.
We're talking about surrendering possession. Owen Cunningham Here he is coming up with a little, well, there was definitely a hand in there, I think, from who's that?
McNamara.
Big McNamara, definitely a hand in there, but that's the sort of ball control that Bob Fulton was talking about during the week. Manly can't afford to drop the ball, especially 20 metres out from the opposition line.
There's Bob Fulton alongside reserve grade coach Marty Gurr and Terry Randall.
I think Bob Fulton would be expecting the linesman to take part in that. That was a strip-off. Yep. And there's one there. That's a handy break from Manly.
Ian Roberts, the master of the rake back, along with Ben Elias, gets another one, another victim.
Yes, on that previous one where it should have been stealing, I could almost hear the cement truck rolling into the ground behind us with Bill Harrigan as referee. Manly leading 12-0. 15 minutes till half-time. O'Donnell to Menzies. He seems to like this stutter and then go ahead in the same direction, Steve Menzies, just trying to put a bit of doubt into the defence's mind. I think he's going to come back inside. He doesn't. Now Hill struggling forward. 10 short of halfway. Tuvey. Ridge. Could have passed, decide to kick. Adamson handballs it back. Adamson brings it back, and Lyons is there to tackle him. I thought that Ridge could have run that. They had the numbers, and they had plenty of space to use it. Indecision here. Alexander couldn't find a runner. Not a good sign. Shows there's not much confidence or talk going on.
Well, what happens, I think, is when you have two halfbacks out on the field like Gary Freeman and Greg Alexander, they tend to get in each other's way. And Greg Alexander's in there taking control now, as we've known for many years from the Penrith club. Now to Gilmeister. Here's a chance for the Panthers.
Freeman, Adamson. Well tackled by Tuvey. Alexander to Fittler. Fittler halfway through. Finds Singh. Singh goes himself. And he's away from Ridge. Beckett puts it down. Beckett seemed to have lost his footing. Was sprawling a little as he tried to take the pass, but Matt Singh showed some real acceleration there, and he very nearly beat Matthew Ridge.
Nice little dummy from Brad Fittler. Now Singh here. What is the turn of pace? Matthew Ridge is no slouch. Ridge just gets to him. Oh, and Beckett. Oh, no. Beckett just slips over, loses his footing. But that was try time for the Panthers. Had Beckett kept his feet.
And that's Penrith's first real try-scoring chance in the game, and they've blown it.
And Warren, you can put that down to a tremendous pass by McNamara early in the piece. He took the ball up and got a tremendous pass out the back, and that gives you a second line of attack, and Penrith used it well. Headed by Fittler and Singh.
The error count shows Penrith have made 10 errors. Manly 4. Again, an indication of why the score is 12-0 to the Sea Eagles. Here's Ridge. Fittler swings him to ground. Penrith, they're fighting to get back into this game as Cunningham tears forward, and he beat the tackle of Adamson, Phil Adamson. Carroll. Nicely tackled, low by Farah, just drove in at his legs. And that was the 11th hit up for Mark Carroll. He's leading the charge for Manly.
Steve Carter on the sideline coming back on for Alexander in a minute.
Beckett. I suppose once Carter has been repaired, he has to come back onto the field as Roberts races it back for the second time. Penrith have got to wake up to this.
Warren, I think the league should wake up and just no striking in the play of the ball. It's ridiculous. It's just putting more pressure on referees to make a decision.
Here's O'Donnell. Just getting back to Steve Carter. I guess once you've been repaired, you have to get back onto the field from the blood bin. But I think if I was Phil Gould, I'd like to keep Greg Alexander out there for a while.
I think he will, actually, Warren. I think you'll find perhaps Beckett might get the hook, and Singh will go under the wing, or Girdler will go under the wing.
Tuvey. Inside to Ridge. Away from Freeman. Just got hold of him. Now it's O'Donnell. Here's the offload starting again. Cunningham now.
One more pass there, and Penrith are in trouble.
Liddon and Alexander just managed to stop Owen Cunningham. David O'Donnell's in trouble. He's down holding his hip. Now it's Tuvey running the angle. The pass doesn't find Roberts. He's knocked it on, and that'll be a scrum.
Yeah, a bit of confusion there. Jeff Tuvey running the angle. Really running straight into Ian Roberts here. Ian Roberts running in the wrong direction, and it's a little bit of misunderstanding come up with the spilt ball, but Penrith certainly needed that. Penrith Yeah, Greg Alexander coming off the field, surprising from Phil Gould.
But he's staying there. He is staying there.
What he's doing is he's bringing him off because the bloke that replaces you on the blood bin has to then come off the field as well, and then Greg Alexander will go on as a normal replacement now. Otherwise, that would have counted as 2 replacements.
Yep. Yeah, they're just getting around the rule, James. There with Greg Alexander, he'll be back on in a second, I'm sure.
Now Fittler skirts wide. A great tackle from Jeff Tuvey. He's a terrier. Tremendous defender. Adamson to Beckett. Took that pass well. It was a fairly sharp one at his head. Menzies and Carroll roll him over.
Alexander standing by to go back on at fullback. They'll be bringing off Matt Adamson.
In fact, there he goes right now. And here's a turnover, possession, and Manly have got it. Lyons throws the dummy, takes off, 35 metres out. Manly leading 12 points to 0, 10 minutes to go in the first half. Penalty to Manly. Cliff Lyons has drawn the penalty, and again in that tackle was Gary Freeman and Liddon. Here's Gary Freeman all over the top of him.
Well, that's another penalty Gary Freeman's given away. That's 2. Well, number 12, Jason Liddon jumping in there on top. But Gary Freeman really was the culprit on that occasion. And as Manly decided to go for the 2 with Matthew Ridge. But on a lot of occasions, Gary Freeman's a tremendous player, a real penalties for love to Manly, which, of course, is also a relevant stat. But Gary Freeman, a tremendous player. I've got a huge rap on him. Certainly the heart and soul of any team he plays for. But his niggling tactics at times can pay off, and like this afternoon and at other times they don't pay off. And Manly have copped 2 penalties, and Matthew Ridge will probably put this one over for 2 points.
The other blood binny, Barry Walker's just come back onto the field. Adamson will be going back off.
Blood binny as distinct from blood bunny. Here's Ridge, 32 metres out. They elected to go for a try rather than a goal a little while ago. This is pretty close, and it's there. So they've taken the 2 and they've got the 2 this time, and Manly stretched their lead. 14-0 now. 9 minutes till the half-time break.
John, you had a lot to do with Gary Freeman at Eastern Suburbs when he was there. Would you agree with that analysis about his niggling tactics?
Yeah, he certainly did a lot for Eastern Suburbs, but I think Eastern Suburbs did a lot for Gary also, and got him to be a more disciplined player. He's losing a little bit of that trait that he gained at Eastern Suburbs, I believe, from what I've seen.
Mark Carroll brings it back hard, but Girdler with an equally fine tackle. Bolland all drags him to ground. Elsgood heads across field. But Phil Adamson is back on the bench now, having a rest. Greg Alexander's dropped back to fullback. Here's Moore. Loses the ball, trying to pass it. Mackay dives on it for Penrith. So just a few mistakes creeping into Manly's game as well, but now Carter disjoints the Penrith attack. 40 metres out. You would think that Penrith would love a try before half-time, and they're going to get it from Matt Fittler. He's done it all himself. It was as if he said, well, yeah, try before half-time would be handy. I think I'll score one.
Well,
he's just taken off from 40 metres out, busted the front line, and then had the speed to beat everyone to the line, and even Matthew Ridge could barely get across. Fittler's not as fast as he once was, and that's why he's playing in the forwards rather than the centres. But just take a look at this.
Yeah, that's exactly what he did say, Warren, as he goes off the right foot, beats Jeff Tuvey, no mean feat. Mark Carroll can't pull him up. And you're right, he's slowing up a bit, Freddie Fittler, but he's still an outstanding player. The captain of the Panthers is over. There is nothing really doing on this right-hand side, and only a player of Fittler's calibre can make something out of nothing like that. A beautiful right-hand step, and he'll be straight into that State of Origin side. The big question is, where do they play Brad Fittler in the State of Origin side or the City Origin side? I'd say his best position is locked forward.
Yeah, I think he is turning into a lock rather than a centre, but the step, he's very strong in the legs, Fittler, and he drives hard. But Jack Elsgood got left behind. He was slow to turn and chase, and you would think that Ridge would have got to Fittler, so he can't be too slow.
Warren, we've had some interesting byplay here on the sideline. Graham Mackay came over to actually line up the goal kick, and Alexander was peering up into the grandstand looking for Phil Gould, and obviously the signal came because he went over and took the place kick away from Mackay, and it's Alexander's going to kick. So goal kicking being a problem, and obviously they're still a little bit undecided who's the best shot.
Well, it's strange you should say that, Debbie, because a couple of weeks or a month ago against St George, the same thing happened. I think Graham Mackay went to take the kick, and Phil Gould yelled out from the bench, "It's yours, Brandy," as he moves in now to take the kick.
Well, neither of them has a great record with the boot this season, and Alexander has missed, but not by very far. 14 points to 4 in favour of Manly as Penrith hit back 5 minutes before half-time.
This is Fittler's trademark here. Just nothing really on. Goes across field. Oh, that's the change of possession where Danny Moore just popped the ball up and Penrith were able to come up with the ball. From this, well, this is probably a ruck before, but Fittler just showing what he can do.
John, that just shows how scrappy the lead-up was. There was nothing on here for Penrith until Fittler took it into his own hands.
No, well, maybe Tuvey just lacking a little bit of confidence in his leg. His agility to move off his left leg might be restricted a little, but just enough for Fittler. But he's done that to plenty of players, hasn't he?
I was going to say, John, I don't think there's many players that have got Brad Fittler in that situation. There's no shame at all to be sidestepped by one of the best steppers in the game.
Interesting, too, as the Manly players made their way back to halfway very slowly. Referee Harrigan called time-out. He wasn't going to have Manly slowing it down just before the break. Maybe Manly are feeling the heat a little, or maybe they were just worried about letting Penrith get onto a roll.
One thing Bob Fulton will be really pleased about is the possession rate. You know, he, like all coaches, he realises that really dictates the game, and Manly have had more possession. It's just that Penrith's coming into a little bit now, putting some pressure on the Sea Eagles.
But Freeman's kick goes straight down Ridge's throat. Not for the first time, a fairly average kick. Now Ridge runs into Mackay and he slams him to ground. Big man, Graham Mackay. Had a lot of injury worries last season, but he seems to be fully fit and full of confidence now. Carroll. Straight and hard.
What a transformation Mark Carroll's had since leaving South and coming to Manly. Bob Fulton's been the best thing that's happened to Mark Carroll. He's starting to look to unload the ball, and he's really thrown away that he-man, tough man image, and now he's a real complete footballer.
Of course, Carroll started out at Penrith and then via Souths to Manly, so he's playing against one of his old clubs today. Ridge drives it low. He really clubbed it along the ground, but Beckett is taken by Menzies. Almost ran into Freeman. Now Alexander weaves across field to Carter. Girdler. Manly's defence stayed out there, though. They didn't panic when Alexander headed their way. Mackay.
There's Bob Fulton up there next to Marty Gurr, whose side once again had a win today. Fourth tackle, Barry Walker plays the ball back to Farah. Freeman. Now here's the man himself. Watch for the step. No, grubber kick this time.
And here comes Carter. Look at Carter close. Elstood, though, read it well. And just got to that ball in time as Steve Carter was herring through on it. Interesting decision coming into this game, too, with Matt Dunford, the only fresh reserve for Manly. Just the one fresh reserve. So Manly may feel the pinch a little later. Hancock driven back. Strong stuff from Penrith. Danny Farah.
That is an interesting decision, actually. If we might get Debbie Spillane to try and check that out as to why Manly have only got the one fresh reserve.
Well, Jacko, they only had one fresh reserve in reserve grade as well, and Penrith had a battalion of them. So, you know, obviously just not as many players around the Manly camp at the moment. But I'll check it out for you.
Because John Jones also still on the injured list for Manly. He's a tremendous player over the last couple of years, and they'll welcome him back in a few weeks. Ridge put on the ground by Carter as Mackay now with a chance if he can get through Hancock, but he can't.
Nice undie.
Hancock clinging to him there. Tuvey, ball and all tackle on a front rower. McNamara knocked over. Front row spot is a position that Penrith have struggled to really cement this year. Barry Walker's up there on one side, but they've tried Matt Hamilton last week. Before that, Stephen Boss. Phil Adamson even had a run there at one stage. Today it's Cole McNamara. Paul Clark leaving them to join Parramatta in the off-season. It's one position that they've yet to really settle on. Fittler goes wide. Beckett can't pull it down. Robbie Beckett's had an unhappy day, but that was Brad Fittler's mistake.
Yeah, the ball just floating out over the touchline from Brad Fittler. Here he is, the long ball, Brad Fittler. I'd like to see Brad Fittler just run the ball a bit more instead of being a ball player. I think that his greatest ability, as we saw with that try, is his ability to run the football and then once he gets through the gap, if he does get caught, able to unload and use that great strength that he possesses.
Danny Moore on the angle.
But Peter, just because of his footwork, he gets halfway through holes, he can easily pop a ball up because he's got all the skills with the ball in his hand.
Moore playing for a penalty, but the referee not fooled at all. Now Lyons weaves a bit of magic. Roberts flicks it away to Cunningham. Desperation on the right-hand side as Girdler came in to make a quick tackle, but Ridge keeps it alive now to Menzies. Carter wraps up the ball. Menzies fighting, can't get the pass away. Girdler realised he was in real trouble if he didn't come in to make a tackle on the far side a moment back. Now Ridge, here comes Elsgood, who's off flying through. Alexander want to hurry. Beckett leaves it. It's on the ground. It's a simple try to Elsgood. And Greg Alexander and Robbie Beckett can only hang their heads in shame. They didn't talk to each other. They didn't realise the urgency that was needed because Elsgood was flying through. And that is a giveaway try from Penrith. Right on half-time. In fact, the siren about to sound. And if the kicking game occasionally from Ridge in this half, when we thought he could have run it, he's come up trumps all the time.
And as you see the ball go down now, Jack Elsgood at this stage, you give him 100 to 1 that he was going to score a try. Nothing doing. Oh, and Greg Alexander and Beckett almost fall over each other. And Elsgood there to pick up the scraps and pick up his second try.
Well, I think they may have been playing for the ball to go over the touchline, but it's cost them severely here. We can only assume that Jack Elsgood was onside. He had plenty of time to get down there at his pace.
Warren, I was watching Elsgood. He was onside. It was a rehearsed play. And I think they're targeted just this right wing for Penrith. A bit of inexperience. That's the second kick for tries down this right wing, guarded by Robbie Beckett.
So Ridge, who had kicked 28 out of 34 coming into this game. This is swinging around. Will it get the two? Yes! Well, he's finally got the sights right. Matthew Ridge, at 82% success rate, showing just wide with that kick. It is half-time, so that try, I would say, was scored with no seconds on the clock. And there it is, the planned move, as John called it, the kick downfield.
Yep. That's it, Warren. There's no doubt Elsgood was onside. Got great speed, a little bit of luck there, confusion amongst Penrith. And, of course, Jack Elsgood, that's an easy one. That's his second try also.
So at half-time, Manly have taken a very firm grip on this match. They've had plenty of possession, plenty of hit-ups, but they lead 20 points to 4 at the break.
Boom, shake, shake, shake the room. Tick, 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 boom.
And last week's correct answer in our competition was Wayne Pearce. Wayne Pearce scoring for the Tigers quite a few years ago now for junior. And Jim Basutin from Ingham in Queensland is the lucky winner of 2 tickets plus airfares to the second State of Origin match, the 8th of June in Melbourne. Peter Hughes from Victoria Point in Queensland won a South Sydney supporters pack, and Glenn Monaghan's from Kelvin Grove won a Broncos supporters pack. This week, again, we're giving away 2 tickets plus airfares from anywhere in Australia to that second State of Origin match at the MCG, plus 2 supporters packs. This match between Canterbury and Penrith was played in 1982. Can you tell us who scored the try that's coming up? Was it Mark Levy, Royce Simmons or Ken Wolfe? The Panthers attacking, and over in the corner, was it Mark Levy, Royce Simmons or Ken Wolfe scoring that try? And the numbers to ring, 0055 605 24 if you thought it was Mark Levy. For Royce Simmons, 0055 605 25, and for Ken Wolfe, 0055 605 26. You can ring any time until midnight on Thursday. Great prizes to be won. You could be at the second State of Origin match, so get on the phones now.
And we'll go back to Penrith Park shortly. AFL updates now. 4 matches being played today. First up, Optus Oval, Carlton and Sydney. Carlton 12-10-82, the Swans 7-8-50, Melbourne 6-5-41 are leading Collingwood 3-4-22. Over at the MCG, West Coast Eagles 14-6-90 are leading North Melbourne 7-6-48, and the Brisbane Bears still ahead at the Gabba 10-5-65, leading Adelaide 7-10-52. Horse racing now, and the feature race in Adelaide at Morphettville was the Australasian Oaks, race 5. Let's take a look at the closing stages.
In front, they've come to her quickly as he gives her a breather. Second placing is Trista Love getting a lovely run. Cyclone Watch is 3 deep and will come deep on the swing. Just behind them, Brompton Cross, and Our Mess is breathing down their necks now to 4th. Further back behind those, Pindy's running on out wide. Truvia Lass is under pressure. Futile likewise, Sedately, Shaggy Bobber Scona, and down on the inside was Cushy. But Trista Love, given a lynch of rain, has slipped to the lead. Pindy's coming out of the pack running on, and there too was Our Mess. They've got away from Pre-Packer's Dream. Pindy's a bit of a threat. Trista Love, the leader. Pindy's running a big race. Our Mess further back to Futile. He's had to go for Trista Love. Pindy's run a very cheeky race. Trista Love will hang on. It's going to get the money, I'm sure, but what a run by the bolter, Pindy. It's Trista Love winning the Schweppes Group 1 Australasian.
Yes, the numbers 1, 12 and 10 in the Australasian Oaks. Trista Love ahead of Pindy and Our Mess. Now up in Brisbane, the feature race was the Robin Kitchen Cup over 1,200 metres. Silver Neon and Bucks Pride, the equal favourites, starting at 13-2.
Dream 6th on the inside, then Music Switch and Sublimate, followed by Silver Neon, Baggio and Burst unequal. Deposition a long way back with Slight Chance, followed by Diamond Harbour and last is Grand Trick. 600 out, Bitmasque, the leader, a half Cape Stout on the inside. Bucks Pride third, Archie Keelia fourth but deep, and then Big Dreams on the inside of All Our Mob. 2 away, Baggio, followed by Silver Neon, Music Switch and Burst and Sublimate, and Diamond Harbour a long way back. Into the straight, Bitmasque just in front of Cape Stad. Bucks Pride on the outside and Archie Keelia, All Our Mob running home well, followed by Big Dreams. Past the 200, the filly, Bitmasque, she fought on, she got away. A neck, Bucks Pride trying to go with her. All Our Mob finishing well. Bitmasque and Bucks Pride, All Our Mob on the outside. Bucks Pride's got the Bitmasque, her conditions given out, Bucks Pride. Bucks Pride.
Now, there has been a protest second on first, but at the moment, 4 Bucks Pride ahead of 16 Bitmasque and All Our Mob. We'll bring you the result of that protest in sports news after the Rugby League. And in cricket today, an Indian side playing an emerging Australian 11 at Manuka Oval in Canberra. India won the toss, all out in the 44th over for 166. Australia, a short time ago, 3 for 117. Well, half-time score in the football, Manly 20, Penrith 4. We take you back now to Penrith and Warren Bolland.
Penrith Football Stadium. Well, when you think of Penrith, you think of Greg Alexander, John Cartwright, Brad Fittler, but then you should think of Steve Carter, who along with Colin Vandervoort and Barry Walker has been a mainstay with the club since back in the 80s. Carter, who played State of Origin in '92, started out on the central coast of New South Wales at Wyong before settling into a career on and off the field with Penrith.
Not really. So who's your other favourite team apart from Penrith? No others? Just Penrith?
Yeah, I'm a promotions officer at the Lees Club, which involves many aspects within the club and also outside the club in the schools and hospitals, as you've seen today. And it's very enjoyable to walk in a hospital and cheer a young bloke's day up. He's been in hospital for 4 weeks and gives me a good feeling as well as himself. And I think it's good for the club and good for the game as a whole. I think the club's in a right direction in doing that for the players.
Steve Carter was a New South Wales and Australian schoolboy rep before joining Penrith at the end of 1987. He's been through good and bad times over the past 6 years with the Panthers, but has remained positive in his attitude. Although Penrith lost the 1990 grand final to Canberra, without that loss, their grand final win in '91 wouldn't have happened.
It wasn't so much disappointing for myself because I was a fairly young sort of guy, and just making the grand finals, it was a bit of an achievement, I thought. And maybe for the older guys like Roy Simmons and Mark Guy, it was probably disappointing more than what it was for me. But I sort of used it as a learning experience and took it all in, and we benefited from that the following year. So we were a lot better side the following year, more complete outfit. And when we got to semi-finals, it showed in a lot more in our game, I think.
Understandably, Steve is proud of being part of Penrith's first premiership win in '91. Unfortunately, the success didn't last for the club.
In '92, we looked like the side that was going to go through and win probably 2 or 3 of the next premierships, and that just didn't work out that way through bad luck or injuries or other misfortunes. And I think personally, life in general sort of is a little series of ups and downs, and that's what happened with us as a club. And we went probably as low as you could get with form and injuries and some other really bad things that happened within the club. And so probably we're better off for it now. Hopefully we're stronger people as a club, and we've got to probably use that to go on and do our best in the next few years. The pace of the game is a lot bigger, and I think all the players are struggling to keep up with it, even though we're all trying to go a little bit faster, and it's just it's very hard to keep up at the moment. But you've got 10 metres either side of the ruck, and you've got to get forward in defence and forward in attack, and it's pretty hard on our fitness because you just can only fit so much in a week. You can't fit 2 or 3 conditioning sessions in and then you've got ball skills, so it's very hard, and we're trying to squash so much into the 1 week, and I think it's just become more competitive and a lot harder in general.
At 23, Carter has kept up with the pace of the game and is playing his best football yet in 94.
I've got a lot more opportunities this year than what I have in the previous years, where Greg may have kicked and chased or something like that, whereas Gary, is more or less just giving the ball, and I've had a go. That's not detrimental to Greg because you can't complain when he's kicking and chasing because he just does it so well. But I'm really happy playing alongside Gary. He's such a competitor, and people used to say I was the angry person at Penrith, but I think he's taken the reins over.
Close scrutiny of high tackles has put Carter's jumping, ball and all style under the microscope, and at times he sailed close to the wind.
I really think that they're going overboard with the high tackles. I think they should just leave it alone, the media and the officials. I think when I first come to grade, I was taught I was a low tackler from junior levels. Everyone was telling me to go low, and then I got to grade, and then I had to do this ball and all stuff. And now everyone's telling us to go back down low, so it's a catch-22 situation for I think all the players going around. And I think the ball and all tackles, it's a must in the game today, because when you play sides like Canberra, Brisbane and Manly, if they're getting away balls, you're just not going to win the game. So I don't know what they're going to do. I'd maybe just let it settle down and it'll go out itself.
Well, he hasn't had any problems so far in this game, Steve Carter, but he is in good form. But his team are down by 20 points to 4 at half-time, and they're going to have to work very hard in the second half. Well, they'll certainly going to have to take it to Manly. Manly dominating the first half. But if we go back to last weekend, we know what a good player Terry Lamb is, but last week we saw an example of his bulldog determination. Of course, in last Sunday's win over West, Lamb fractured his forearm, and Canterbury are going to have to live without their linchpin for between 4 and 6 weeks. It was from this scrum that Barber hurt his left arm in a tackle that looked harmless enough. In fact, Lamb thought the pain was a bad cork. But the amazing thing is that after Lamb broke his arm, he played on, instigating a try, which was eventually called back here. Halligan over, but then Lamb went on to make several strong runs that showed no fear or favour. He actually stayed on the field for 8 minutes after breaking the arm before giving in to the inevitable. When they say no pain, no gain, but I don't know, I think it was no pain, no brain here. The usual Lamb kicking style was intact. But what about these tackles? As hard and committed as ever, despite having only one arm that was really functioning. And a cross in cover here. So he was all over the field as usual. And then he went on to send McCracken on his way for a try here, only to be called back for what looked like a shepherd. And then this final extraordinary effort, keeping his broken arm out of the way, using his head and shoulder to nudge a player to the ground. It was a bit like the knight in Monty Python's Holy Grail who had his arms and legs chopped off, yelling, "Come back and fight. You're bleeding to death. Oh, it's only a flesh wound. I've had worse." It was extraordinary, Jacko, wasn't it?
Extraordinary player, Terry Lamb, there's no doubting that. And one of the great regrets I had in my career is I never actually got to play with Terry Lamb. But everything he's taught those young blokes over at Canterbury Bankstown, the likes of Scott Wilson, Craig Mollman, Jim Dimmick, Jason Smith, everything he's taught them over the last 2 or 3 years will have to come to the fore, and they'll have to stand up.
And there's a shot we've got from last night, wasn't it? Last night at the SCG.
Oh,
Jacko in action.
He's an attractive man, isn't he?
I didn't know it was that tough on the sideline. You're having a gold knee for wearing headgear.
I had to have my headgear on because Laurie Nichols was only about 5 metres away from me. When he's punching and ducking and weaving, anything can happen. As the Manly side come back on the field after what has been a tremendous first half performance by them, and Penrith with all the work to do and what could be a real good second half of football.
And of course last night a very exciting win to Souths over Balmain. But here at Penrith, Panthers have it all to do. Debbie Spillane, what's the news?
Can I just say first, Jacko, some commentary teams do have him. Phil Gould, surprisingly, was keeping fairly composed at halftime, not bawling anybody out. He told his team to forget about the score, concentrate on their own game, keep on moving forward, concentrate on ball security and wait for the chances to come in defence. He asked them particularly to lock up the ball because Manly are getting away some fluky offloads.
Yes, and of course, Bob Fulton, professional coach he is, he's guarding against any complacency out there, and I think he's just got to keep Manly on the ball.
Well, the statistic from the first half that tells the story really is Manly had 52 hit-ups, Penrith 24, so an indication twice as much possession was Manly's. And no doubt, if you get that amount of ball, you should be winning on the scoreboard, but they were putting it together and they were really moving the ball around on a lot of those possessions. They were stringing passes together as well. O'Donnell can't get away this time. That may have been another message in the dressing room. Watch David O'Donnell running from dummy half. Carter put some pressure on Ridge. Knocked him over gently. Referee Harrigan said there was nothing wrong with it. Now Mackay. Back near his posts. Gets away from Menzies. Not from O'Donnell, though. 12 metres out from their own line. A good kick from Ridge to push Penrith back. Try and take the sting out of them. The Panthers will be out ready to really rev up and fire and try and regain some control in this game. Farah spins, taken by Gillespie and O'Donnell.
I'm sure Phil Gould, the Penrith coach, would have said at half-time not to push things at this stage, Penrith. There's still 40 minutes to go. There's plenty of time to get back into this game. They must concentrate on getting good field position. There we see Darren Brown, the new recruit from Penrith, coming over from Western Suburbs in controversial circumstances. So we see a break here made by Matt Singh.
And he's left it behind, lost the ball, and Manly have got it. I don't know whether Bill Harrigan saw it at first, but he or the touch judge woke up pretty quickly, and Manly have got it. Phil Adamson did well to put Singh into the clear there. So he just couldn't hang on to it in the tackle. Menzies.
We've got a replacement brewing here. Cliff Lyons is coming off. They're saying it's a groin injury, although he looks like he's nursing an arm. And in his place, Cole Bentley used to play for Penrith, of course.
O'Donnell to Roberts. And Roberts hit it up 12 times in the first half. Carroll, 15 hit-ups. Gillespie, 8. They were doing plenty of the hard stuff for Manly. Another statistic from the first half. Manly kicked 15 times in general play. Penrith only 6. Here's another kick from Ridge, just placing it into the corner. Alexander trails across. No way to go, though.
I think, Warren, that's a good indication that Manly had plenty of possession, got the end of their tackle counts, and there's a bad error from the Penrith side.
Well, you wait 10 years to see Greg Alexander make another mistake like that. We see him just turning, and great defence there by Jack Elsgood, showing that he's got strength as well as speed. But Greg Alexander, not renowned for making simple mistakes like that, and as you can see, he's definitely cursing himself.
Well, they're putting all of those horror mistakes into the one game, Penrith. I mean, kicking dead on the full from a restart in the first half, going into touch there on the first tackle. You just can't do that against Manly, and Hill skirts wide. Manly would be enjoying playing well today. It's been a while between drinks since that thrashing of West. They really seem to have struggled in quite a few games since then. They beat West 66-8. Then they beat Newcastle in a tough one, 13-10. Lost to Cronulla after that. Struggled to beat Souths, and then lost to Canberra last week, even though Canberra had 12 men for much of the second half. Manly leading 20-4.
I don't think anyone had beaten Canberra last weekend in the mood they were in. But Manly, simple fact, and I hate to use one of those trendy, clicky football words, but ball control. Manly have held the ball today, and they're in front. They'll always do that. They've got the players.
The wraparound comes back to Tuvey. Hill slips as Carter was trying to round him up. Cole Bentley already getting into the action, working the run around there with Tuvey. He's too wide of the ruck here. It goes to Ridge first, though, on the last tackle. He plants it close to the post, swing away a little, though, and Alexander shows some experience there to back away and allow it to go dead.
Well, Matthew Ridge's bomb, not a good one. Went dead. And once again, Matthew Ridge not renowned for making mistakes like this. There it is. It goes nice and high, but certainly no chance of it coming down in the field of play. And Greg Alexander wisely lets it go over the dead ball line.
Penrith got back up to the 20 for a quick tap. And Manly were booed by the crowd. They didn't think they were back. Now Gilmister over the halfway line. 16 points the difference. Penrith really need to score the first try to give themselves a real chance of winning this game. But they've lost it, Lytton putting it down, and that's not the way to go about that task. Bentley. Oh, straight through a bad tackle by Farah. Bentley down to the fullback, shopping around. Defence finally covered him as Tuvey and Moore were in support. But there's still another chance here for Manly. O'Donnell to Ridge. Menzies inside. Looks more like Manly going to be the team to score the first try of this second half. Carroll. 9 metres out. Menzies down, getting a boot back on. Tuvey. Bentley dummies to Ridge. Fittler comes over the top, puts him on the ground. Trying to slow it down. Singh also up in defence. Last tackle now. Tuvey puts it up high. Some pressure for Alexander. This time they all fly for it. Alexander's got the bouncing ball, but a near thing. There was plenty of pressure from Cunningham. Roberts was there too. And that was a very good bomb by Ridge. He learnt from his earlier one, which was a little too deep.
Yeah, perfect bomb. I think it was Jeff Tuvey that actually put that one up. A perfect bomb by Tuvey, and Greg Alexander lucky to come down with that one.
Hancock. Almost back to the 30, but now he's driven back to the 40.
Penrith needs some inspirational play like those big tackles.
And the total errors, 24 by Penrith, 10 by Manly. Gillespie heads wide. A little jiggle of a run and then heads towards the edge of the forwards. Tuvey. Bentley to Hill. Menzies straightens it up. Gets the pass away. Hill can't hang on to it. There was only Alexander in front if he'd managed to hang on to that pass.
Yes, and Terry knows that he's come up with the spilt pass, and he knows he's come up with a chance for 4 points. So Penrith will get the ball back from this scrum. You see the replay now. Cole Bentley running across field. Now there's a call of a shepherd there from the Penrith supporters. I don't think it was a right call. There was no one seemed to be impeded, and Terry Hill coming up with the spilt ball. Possibly the reason he spilt that ball was he could see Freeman coming and he tried to step away, but in the motion just couldn't control the ball. Fittler. A wait to Fittler. He still manages to get the pass away to Farah. Carroll buries him.
Warren, I think that's what he's got to do more, Fittler. He's got to take the line up.
Adamson. Tackle low by Menzies.
He's on for McNamara, Warren.
And now Gilmister. On the halfway. Freeman. Alexander. Singh. Beckett. Goes well now, Beckett. That's a good run. Showed some speed. The defence was closing on him, but he got away. Now Carter down the blind side, but he's into touch. He's taken the wrong option there, Steve Carter. Thought he could sneak away.
I think he was trying to milk a penalty then. He pleads to the touch judge and the referee that Owen Cunningham was in fact offside. Doesn't really show it on that replay, but I think Steve Carter was trying to milk another 6 tackles with a penalty. Unsuccessful.
Some gloomy news from the Manly locker room. Cliffy Lyons does have a groin injury and he definitely won't be back on in this game.
And Ian Roberts is carrying a shiner. His right eye is nearly closed. If he's going to battle on. Here he is now. And he pops it away. It's almost inevitable, isn't it, that Roberts will get the pass away. Hill now to Hancock. Carter coming across at him. Manages to hang on. Good tackle. Carter just showed him the touchline. Hancock, when he came inside, didn't have the angle to really beat the tackle of Carter. The total tackles mounting. The Penrith defence has had to get to 149 as Bentley puts it down. Manly, on the other hand, have made 98 tackles.
Well, Cole Bentley, I was just about to give him a rap saying that Cliff Lyons might be off the field, but Cole Bentley's done a fine job. And as soon as you think about saying it, the old curse, the drop ball.
He seems to have slotted into the combination easily, doesn't he, Bentley? He must train with the top side pretty regularly because they've been working moves off him.
For Penrith, Steve Carter's off and Matt Adamson back on the field. It's him now.
Didn't take him long to get into the action, did it?
No.
He's knocked down. Referee Harrigan doesn't give a penalty against Bentley. Liddon met and stopped. Roberts was up there and he taps Mark Carroll on the back and encourages him. 20 points to 4 in favour of the Sea Eagles. 30 minutes to go. Girdler. Still plenty of time for Penrith, but they're just not playing well enough. Walker. Singh. Good sharp burst. Roberts is down injured as Phil Gould must be concerned about this performance. Alexander. And Roberts was offside. Ian Roberts has gone high as well. Now, I don't know whether Roberts was upset about whatever incident that put him on the ground, but he came from an offside position, 30 metres offside, running back into the play, and has clobbered the Penrith player here, and this may be worth looking at again. It looked hung. And Roberts was a very angry man as he came in here. He must have known he was offside.
Well, you'd almost have to say that was a sin bin offence. I don't know whether it was that high. Have another look at it. No, I don't know if it was that high, but certainly the fact that he came from such an offside position, I think he must have to spend 10 minutes in the sin bin here. Got one hell of a black eye.
That was suffered in the first half, and he's limping. He's hurt his knee again, Ian Roberts. Maybe he was frustrated with the fact that he'd been injured, but it was almost a ridiculous act from Roberts. It was schoolboy stuff. Alexander finds touch. Let's have another look at it. There it was. Well, that was high.
Yeah, so I didn't see that angle from that replay. Certainly was high. And I mean, gee, if you can't get 10 minutes in the sin bin for a high tackle that's from a bloke who's 20 metres offside. Anyway, here come the Panthers on the roll.
They're only 11 metres out. Gilmister. Penrith need a try here. Fittler. Pops it up for Adamson on the burst. Good run. Good defence too. Away it comes and Hill's got it. That was great defence by Gillespie and Menzies there. They hit Adamson so hard. It was a real collision because he was on the boil.
Warren, there's concern on the Manly bench that that Ian Roberts has done his hamstring and Matt Dunford's warming up and heading to the sideline now.
Well, there comes Ian Roberts. What a sad sight. The amount of times we've seen Ian Roberts leave the field with injuries is just almost... Oh, there's a turnover for the Panthers.
It's been lost by Gillespie and Penrith have got it. Gillespie tried too hard to get a pass away. It really was a very ambitious pass from Gillespie because he had 3 men all over the top of him. He's not as tall and doesn't have the reach of Ian Roberts, who can do that sort of thing. Alexander works the blind side. Phil Adamson. He's close to touch. He's thrown the ball away. And Manly have got it. I believe Adamson there probably thought he was going into touch and thought he'd better get rid of it, but he put himself in danger. Tooby now. Lytton just drives to make the tackle, and Tooby's into touch. Obviously he feels that his foot wasn't over the line, though.
He's having a yarn to the touch judge there, and the touch judge won't change his mind. They're always right. Just ask him. See, we see Jeff Tooby. Yeah, he's definitely had his foot.
His right foot went over.
His right foot was actually pulled across the line by the Penrith player, but there's nothing wrong with that. The tackle was being affected.
I think Tooby looked down and saw that his left foot was in the field of play, but his right had just slid over and come back. Singh now. The Penrith have got a chance. Girdler to Mackay. Mackay going strongly. Great run. If Penrith can't score here, they never will. They've had a couple of penalties, but great with Tooby into touch. Adamson. 4 metres out. Backline set on the right. Freeman. Fittler now to Adamson. Adamson crushes his way through. And over goes Phil Adamson for the try. Phil Gould realises there's still a long way to go, but at least they're on the board in this second half. In fact, they've scored the first try of the second half. And Manly 20, lead Penrith 8, but only 12 points the difference now. Kick still to come as Alexander linked it out to the men who were standing there waiting. Fittler selects as Bentley came in a little there, opened up the hole for Adamson, with Elstood outnumbered out wide. And Adamson did everything right to improve.
Would you see this on the replay? We'll see Cole Bentley here, number 19. He's the man caught out. There he is. Number 19. He really got nobody in that movement, and that left the line open for Phil Adamson to stroll through and go for the Panthers' second try. We'll see it probably better on the wrist replay. Now, Bentley is the player second in for Manly. Now, he should have really hung out wide and stayed on Adamson there. I know it's easy for me to sit up here and say, but that would have been the plan from Phil Gould, and that's, I'm sure from Bob Fulton. I'm sure Bob Fulton will let Cole Bentley know that during the week.
I'm sure Jack Elsgood was also wishing that he could stay winger on winger. But Bentley just got caught in two minds. They were under pressure, but there was no doubt about that. Alexander now pops it close, but not through. And the score remains 20-8, but now 12 points is the difference.
This will give us a better indication of the wrong option by Bentley. He's the number 19, just inside the winger. As Manly start to slide across, there's Turvey's man off Fittler. You see Bentley, the 19, he came in to answer Fittler, didn't have to, and stayed out, and that put too much pressure on the wing, and Adamson got an easy try. He won't get too much easier than this. There's Gillespie, Tuvey going out on their men, just waiting to see where the ball ends up. There's Bentley, went inside, put far too much pressure on Elsgood.
Manly can only blame themselves there. They look at the Roberts penalty. Tuvey into touch, Gillespie a bad pass, 3 mistakes, and Penrith were camped down there just waiting to score. So we've got a game on our hands again. 12 points the difference, 2 converted tries. And Manly haven't had the same ascendancy in this second half. Gilmister steps off his left. Now Fittler. Fittler goes wide. Taken by Danny Moore. Plenty of times in the past, Brad Fittler has really just taken the game on by himself and won it for Penrith. Elsgood on his own goal line. Alexander, ball and all, but stayed below the chin.
See, the difference between Greg Alexander's ball and all tackle then, which was a classic, and some of the ball and all tackles we've seen in recent weeks, is there was no swinging arm. Greg Alexander just wrapped the ball up, great tackle. There's no swinging arm. When you start swinging your arm, that's when the problems start. Terry Hill and Manly making good ground.
Lovely offload to Hancock, and Alexander's got him. An equally good tackle. Lovely ball from Terry Hill. Dunford, taken by Adamson. The 2 reserves meet. O'Donnell, Cunningham. He got away from Adamson, but not from Gilmister. Walker came over the top. On the halfway, last tackle now for Manly as Ridge takes his time and grubbers for the touchline. Adamson. Matt Adamson. Tuvey's there to meet him. Lifts him a little in that tackle.
News on the Ian Roberts injury saga. They're saying he will be back on with about 20 minutes to go, so a couple of minutes from now, according to the Manly bench. And Carl McNamara is warming up again for Penrith.
We'll wait and see. I wouldn't think Roberts would come back out if Manly can stay 12 points ahead.
That's what we said last time, and they won by about 60 points, and they're still sending him back on.
Yeah, he looked injured, didn't he, as he left the field. Gilmister dummies inside to Mackay. Just short of the halfway. Alexander, I should say Fittler. Lytton is met. A great tackle there by Gillespie. And somehow Lytton managed to hang on to the ball.
Well, a tremendous hit by Dave Gillespie. One of the great attributes Dave Gillespie has, as we see that's a big hit. That's a perfect ball and all tackle. But one of the great attributes Dave Gillespie had is being able to read where the football is going. And you see, he knew Lytton was going to get the long ball from Fittler, and bang, his former Western Suburbs teammate on his back.
Yeah, I think that helped him, Peter. I think the fact he used to play with Lytton, he knows Lytton's a terrific hole runner. Lytton always runs into the hole, and Gillespie read it well and got him with a good shot.
You could see the scrum resulted nevertheless because Lytton just lost the ball forward. It rebounded from Gillespie and he held onto it, but it was not gone. And now Cunningham almost through the tackle. Tenacious tackle of Gary Freeman. Carroll charging forward, arms and legs flailing. 19 metres out now. O'Donnell. Tuvey straightens up, loses it. That was a good tackle by Danny Farrell. Jolted the ball loose. Adamson's got it for Penrith.
Jeff Tuvey there, still finding his feet, still a little bit rusty. Don't forget, Jeff Tuvey had something like 6 or 7 months off football. You see him taking the ball up. Beautiful hit there by Danny Farrar, underrated hooker as well. But Jeff Turvey still finding his feet, and Bill Harrigan finds a penalty in there to the Panthers.
Well, David O'Donnell was laying flat on his back. Might have been playing dead, trying to just interfere, but to get away with it. Referee Harrigan had no mercy one way or the other.
Warren, it's almost a normal course in the Sydney first grade, or the New South Wales Rugby League first grade. Teams that have a handy lead at half-time and plenty of possession, as we see O'Donnell coming in over the top. Teams that have a handy possession lead in the first half, invariably it turns around in the second half. Now, Penrith are going a lot better this half simply because Manly's making some errors this half, and Penrith, with much more possession, is starting to do a few things.
Yeah, it's all about having that ball in your hands. That pass, well, the referee let it go. I thought it may have been a fraction forward. Fittler to Girdler. Girdler hitting it very fast. Sometimes when Fittler goes across field that way, it does make it look forward when it's not. 20 points to 8 in favour of Manly. Penrith looking to get right back on that scoreboard here. They're starting to put the sets of 6 together. Just outside the Manly 20. Alexander shoots it wide to Fittler. Pops a kick through. He's knocked over Brad Fittler. Still a chance though as Ridge has interfered with Girdler as they struggle back. The penalty is gone. In fact, against Ridge, Mackay wants to take a quick tap, and he might as well now. Tooby argues, I thought Fittler was knocked over as well, but that's an even better penalty for Penrith near the goal line. Now, Gilmister. So plenty of possession here for Penrith. Can they use it? Adamson hits it up, great on low back to Farrar. A chance for Penrith here. Farrar still going. Fine defence.
Ready to unload then, Danny Farrar.
Moore with the tackle. Now Adamson goes low. Matt Adamson held. The crowd screaming support here. Fittler holds it up for Mackay. Bust one tackle. Still going, Graham Mackay. Couldn't get his arm free to reach out though. He's knocked over 4 or 5 on the way. Singh throws the dummy, he's short. Just short. Last tackle now. Alexander goes the blind side. Adamson, oh, they've let him through. Matt Adamson has gone straight through. Lovely pass, but Penrith had the defence there. And Terry Hill, Craig Hancock, and Jeff Tooby have just simply read it wrong. Matt Adamson and Greg Alexander knew exactly what they were doing. Manly 20, Penrith 12, kick to come for Penrith, but look at the defence here.
Well, Matt Singh, this is the play the ball earlier. Matt Singh sees an little opening, goes for himself. I thought Penrith had blown it. Manly had all the numbers on the left-hand side. A Greg Alexander special, a bullet-like pass to Matt Adamson. He's in the hole. Jeff Tooby didn't read it well at all. And the Panthers are back in, and we've got a game in our hands today, Warren.
Well, it didn't look like it at half-time, but the Panthers are roaring in this second half. And Greg Alexander, I wondered why in the hell he was coming to the blind side. Manly had them outnumbered. Can you believe it? 3 on 2, but it was perfect thinking. They knew exactly what they were doing, and Jeff Turvey's just come up too quick. He read it wrong, as you said.
Here's the play the ball earlier. Matt Singh almost gets there. Now, I don't know what's going through Jeff Turvey's head here. Normally an extremely good defender. Just got a little bit excited at the wrong time and left that gaping hole for Adamson. And hasn't he made a difference since he's returned to the field?
Well, Greg Alexander has been relieved of the kicking duties after missing 2 shots at goal. Graham Mackay will take over. Neither with great success this season. Mackay 54%, Alexander 33%. But Mackay has only had 13 shots at goal, so he hasn't done a lot of kicking this season. This is 10 metres in from touch. It's an important kick for Graham Mackay. Pushed it to the right. Almost took too much time about it. He hobbles back to halfway slowly, disappointed. But Penrith are back in the game. It's Manly 20, Penrith 12.
Well, this set of 6 tackles completely dominated by the Adamson boys. Some really good football. First of all, there's Fittler chipping through. This resulted in a penalty, but that set of 6 resulting in the try. The Adamson boys did well. Phil Adamson popping up a tremendous pass, and of course, Matt Adamson showing how to run into a hole. This is classic stuff. There he is, the number 1, just inside the goal line, straight into the hole. Good hole running, and good pass by the number 40, his brother, in a previous play to Danny Farrar. Tremendous stuff.
16 minutes to go in the game, so we're set for an exciting finish.
You'll see there Warren Roberts is back on, as promised. Also, winger Rogers, or Gillespie and Dunford have Gillespie and Dunford have both come off. There's Gillespie on the bench now.
Well, Ian Roberts is superhuman. He's a little like Terry Lamb, isn't he? He looked no chance to come back onto the field as he left before, hobbling on one leg, one eye closed. Fittler pops a lovely pass to Freeman. Inside is Mackay. On it goes to Girdler. And still now to Alexander. Beautiful football, lovely pass. Steve Carter, they won't stop him. Or will they get any more? More mystery, but it's a try. Try to Steve Carter. And what a sensational try. Brilliant football by Penrith. Started by Brad Fittler. And two fantastic passes involved in this. Fittler and then Alexander just selecting the right man out of a bunch of players. It's 20 points to 16 to Manly. Kick to come.
Here we go, Brad Fittler starting it off, drifting across field. Now to Gary Freeman, that had some space here. Graham Mackay charges onto the ball. Have a look at him go, the big fella. He unloads into Girdler. Girdler gets one off the ground. Now this is the ball. Look at that for a ball from Greg Alexander. Found Steve Carter in open spaces. And the dog runs away. The Panthers back in it. Greg Alexander, instrumental in both their comeback tries. Anyone said that Brandy's had enough is kidding.
2 tries in 3 minutes and Penrith are right back in this game. And look at this from their own side of halfway. Brad Fittler went wide, picked up Gary Freeman. Beautiful football, but the passing is exquisite in this. Girdler pops up a pass, almost hit the ground. Look at this one, right across the face of a couple. And Carter set sail. Danny Moore got to him, but couldn't stop him from grounding the ball. Now, again, we say an important kick coming up here for Graham Mackay. Missed goals in this game have made a difference. Both teams have missed 3 shots at goal so far from difficult positions. Mackay puts this one through. Fine kick, admittedly close to the post. But what a game. What a game. Manly 20, Penrith 18, 13 minutes to go.
This shot will show how Terry Hill got pulled in here. There's Fittler sliding across the 10. Carroll, he didn't have the pace to go. What happened with Hill? He had to come in and take Fittler. A slight overlap, but couple that with some brilliant passing, particularly that one from Girdler. And look at this long one. And beautiful, right in the bread basket. And this has really opened this game right up. Carter the scorer.
Well, you couldn't complain about the 2 games we've had so far this weekend. Last night, of course, Balmain skipping away to a lead and being pegged back by South. And this afternoon, Manly looked 100 to 1, odds-on chances of winning the game after the first half, but the Panthers have clawed their way back into it, and the crowd are really getting behind them.
But the fact is that Manly lead. Manly still have their heads in front by 2 points, but the tide of the game has turned dramatically. Gilmister, Penrith full of running now. They've really got a head of steam up. Fittler heads across field. They've got numbers out wide. He's turned inside though. Alexander bobbing and weaving. Brad Fittler hadn't been outside there. I think he really fooled himself in the end by going inside. Walker. Gilmister keeps it alive to Beckett. Showing some determination. Last tackle. Craig Hancock is at fullback for Manly. There's plenty of changes out there for them. Carter gives chase, can't go the pace, but Singh gets in. And they've pinned them back inside their own 20.
He's appealing for a late tackle then by Gilmeister. He was a bit late.
And Manly having to travel a long distance to get back to where the play the ball is. And they look just a little shattered for the moment. Some of their big names off the field.
Very hard to play, Warren, without the ball.
Sure.
With the 10-metre rule, if you can gain, or if you can get possession, whether it be from errors or just good control, boy, you can put teams under a lot of pressure.
But when they've got the ball without Cliff Lyons and Matthew Ridge, it's not quite the same attacking combination. Here's Bentley into the corner, driving Beckett back. That's a good kick. Bentley gives chase, can't turn a good kick into a great kick. Good run by Beckett. Shoves off Turvey, 10 metres out from their own line. Girdler.
Now Penrith can't afford to start playing catch-up football. 20 points to 18 to the Manly Seagulls, but it's a long way from over. With still 10.5 minutes to go in this game, and Manly really under pressure, and Penrith on the way home.
Barry Walker gets to his feet to play it back. Farah. Farah's done some good things today. 20 points to 18 in favour of Manly. Exciting game of football here at Penrith, and the crowd is screaming, trying to urge the home side to victory. Hancock surrounded by Freeman, and a fine tackle. He just hits him, doesn't he, Trevor Gilmister? Copybook tackle, hard and very firm as he puts him on the ground.
Well, Manly don't need to try and close this game up at this stage. It's one big mistake teams make. They get a couple of points ahead with 10 minutes to go, and they try and close the game up. It usually has a negative effect.
David Gillespie's on and Mark Carroll's off as Roberts goes up the middle, and you saw the anxiety on Frank Stanton's face a moment ago. He realises this is a desperate game. He told me before the game this is a crunch match for Manly. They'd be 4 points out of the 5 if they lose today. Menzies out of a tackle. Out of Adams' tackle as well. Just taken from behind in time by Farah. They're only 20 metres out. Bentley's kick forces Adamson back. He's got to run it out. He slips over, and that's a perfect kick. Bentley's put in 2 very good kicks in the last few minutes.
Yeah, clever play by Cole Bentley, the former Penrith player. Just dribbles it into the in-goal area. Matt Adamson, there it is, a nice little kick, and Matt Adamson had no chance of getting out of there. And the Manly Seagulls will get the ball back. Matthew Ridge returns to the field.
And Craig Hancock is going to leave the field. Anthony Rogers is staying on, or is he? There seems to be a bit of confusion. How many minutes they got on the field at the moment? Because Ridge has gone back on.
Well, Ridge was a sin bin, wasn't he, Warren?
You're right. You're right.
So now they're back to the full complement.
Yeah, you're right. And all of that.
And just to keep it moving, Matt Dunford's coming on, and Anthony Rogers, the wingers, coming off. And play some forwards with wingers, and still haven't worked out exactly what's happening.
And here's Roberts unloading to O'Donnell. Ridge, 10 metres out. They open up for him. Tooby was coming fast. Lost the ball, has he? Gillespie dives on it to force a scrum, but the referee checks with his touch stats.
Well, that's a mistake Matthew Ridge can't afford to make. He spots a little opening, tries to get rid of Steve Carter. In comes Adamson. Oh, Adamson punched the ball out, but really you can't blame the referee for making that decision. Although David Gillespie was appealing to Bill Harrigan, saying that the ball was punched out. It was accidental, and you've just got to let those ones fly.
And Warren, by my reckoning, Manly have used up their share of interchanges now. So for the last 7.5 minutes, they've got who they've got.
A very tense last 7.5 minutes. Manly leading by 2 points. Penrith right back on their goal line here. Manly have the feed.
What's happened there is I think Greg Alexander's knocked on from that scrum. So a good push from the Manly forwards has caused that.
Elsgood's got it. If that is what happened, it's a crucial decision, a crucial mistake. Cunningham. Dunford is close. O'Donnell working the players off him. They've got the line to the left. Tooby goes wide. The pass to Danny Moore, to Ridge now. Quick hands. Ridge steps back inside, almost lost his balance, put on the ground by Walker. Still 18 out. The ball popped up for Menzies. Still alive is Stephen Menzies. Gets it to O'Donnell, he's in. David O'Donnell scores for Manly. That could be the match winner. 6 minutes to go. But David O'Donnell hunting up the middle, giving good support to the ball carrier. Manly 24, lead Penrith 18. They've got the kick to come. Ridge is out there to put it over for them. Stephen Menzies here twists and turns in the tackle, fights to stay alive. A lovely pass, and that is the match winner you would think, but maybe not yet.
Here we see the ball going. Big Ian Roberts swings the hips. A beautiful rugby union style pass there from Roberts. He's a strong bloke. He's not much of him, Stephen Menzies, but he's got tremendous strength. I know he's up for contract this year with Manly, and with performances like that, Bobby Fulton might have to put a few zeros on the end of the check. Here we see it again. Now, he looks taken for all money. He's able to get rid of Danny Farrar, stay alive, twist it, and puts one underneath Barry Walker's arms to put David O'Donnell. And David O'Donnell, what a fine game he's had for Manly. He's been the difference this afternoon between the two sides.
Stephen Menzies, the 20-year-old PE student, setting up that try. Now Matthew Ridge can put Manly just about out of danger. If he can put this over, they'll go to a lead of 8 points.
Oh, is that you'll back it out? Okay, I'll have 100 with you.
It's in for sure. There it is. Ridge puts it over, and Manly now breathe a little more easily. 26 points to 18.
Yeah, well, this is the result. There's the Penrith feed. It's gone all wrong for the Penrith side. Manly had the next feed. Of course, we saw what Menzies can do. He's a very good player. This lad, he's got the ability to spin in a tackle. He does it so well. He came off Roberts. Look, a little ineffective tackle by Freeman, but he's a lad with a future. He spins in tackles. And there's the man of the match, David O'Donnell, with the match winner, going over for the try.
So Manly now just have to control possession here, not give Penrith another sniff. 26 points to 18 to the Seagulls. Gillespie locks the ball up. Just tries to forge his way up the centre, mistake-free. Cunningham does the same. Penrith have thrown everything at Manly in this second half, but a blistering first half from Manly has been where they really secured this game. O'Donnell gets away from Carter. And Penrith may just realise now this game's gone and start to slip off a couple of tackles. Ridge. Fine kick, forces Beckett back. And you think back to how close a couple of those early incidents were, with Beckett diving over the top of a ball and Manly scored, and then he also put down a pass as he was losing his balance, but he probably would have scored if he'd held on to that pass. They're all the ifs that you look back on in a close game.
Yeah, it's all fish and chip paper now, Warren. Yesterday's news, Manly will get away with it. And they've shown some character here this afternoon, Manly. Penrith threw everything at them in that last 20 minutes. And they've been able to hold on, then put a little bit more pressure back on and come up with the try. Stephen Menzies, outstanding game, as has David O'Donnell.
Manly will join Penrith on 9 points. Here's Carter. Pass on the ground. Alexander's got it. Walker. Mackay is out wide waiting. Now he gets the pass. Hancock's got him. Last tackle coming up now for Alexander. Puts the kick ahead. Fittler chasing through. Can he get the bounce? Ridge is back there. And finally carried away by Danny Moore. And Danny Moore's played pretty well today also.
Just gets better and better, Danny Moore, and I think he'll be a real player for Queensland in years to come. Retirement of Big Mal Meninga, Danny Moore, I'm sure the Queensland selectors are looking towards him to continuing the fine tradition of big centres for the Queensland side. There's Cliffy Lyons looking on, no doubt a little happier now after David O'Donnell's try.
Elsegood slowly to his feet, but while the crowd thought that he was playing for time, he does look to be hobbling. And of course, with those city country origin teams to be selected tomorrow night, Jack Elsegood, like we mentioned earlier, would be one player in contention. Done for trying to bump off Gilmister. Gillespie. The crowd now starting to file from the ground. The Panther supporters had plenty to yell about in the second half. Last tackle, Ridge kicked straight to Adamson. Penrith can take something from this game. If they hadn't made so many mistakes in the first half, well, you know, they'd have to have been a fair chance of winning this game. They have improved in the second.
Well, they've improved when this man, Greg Alexander's come on and really provided the spark and the organisation around the rucks for the Panthers.
Which poses an interesting question for Phil Gould. Does he put Alexander back into the starting lineup? And if he does, where does he put him? Earlier in the season, he was playing fullback. Adamson's been playing pretty strongly there.
I think I mean, you've got to have Gary Freeman in the side, as simple as that. But I think that Greg Alexander from full, we'll see a penalty there for stripping the ball to the Manly side.
Bentley almost seemed to go without it. It was taken out of his arms.
But I think Greg Alexander Here we see here, well, that was accidental and probably offside, if anything. And Matthew Ridge will take the 2 points, or the attempt for the 2 points, and really soak up the time with 27 seconds remaining. That's it for the Penrith Panthers. Brave effort by them. Brad Fittler, Greg Alexander outstanding. Steve Carter never stopped trying. But unfortunately, on the afternoon, the Manly Seagulls got away to too big a lead and they couldn't be pegged back.
Penrith have made over 200 tackles to 169 by Manly. And that hit-up rate still shows Manly have had plenty of possession. 82 hit-ups to Penrith's 47. Almost double the possession indicated there. Now Ridge, 35 metres out. Always close, and the flags are up to finish the game on a victorious note for Manly. They came here knowing that if they lost today, their semi-final hopes would be looking precarious. Penrith knew that they could forge a really consolidated spot in that top 5 if they won today, but it's been the story going Manly's way, 28 points to 18. So Manly back in the hunt for the final 5. Well and truly on a good performance today by both teams, really. Let's find out who was Jacko's judgment. Well, Jacko's judgment this afternoon goes to David O'Donnell, the Manly hooker. Got his chance with an injury to Scott Fulton. He had his chance this afternoon. He's been outstanding. 21 tackles he's made. He's been instrumental, scored the winning try, instrumental in a number of other tries. A fine performance, and no doubt David O'Donnell will be there next week. And there's the warrior, Ian Roberts. He's suffered a couple of injuries in the game, but I'm sure he's available for selection tomorrow night. And he gives them another dimension in attack as well. Here we see David O'Donnell's winning try. Menzies, of course, instrumental. But David O'Donnell, a man on the spot, been everywhere this afternoon and backs up to score beside the post. A winning try. I'm sure he's very pleased to score that. He wouldn't get too much praise, David O'Donnell. And here he is with Johnny Peard.
Well, the match winner today, David O'Donnell. Tremendous return for first grade for you. You'll be pleased with that effort.
Yeah, I'm pleased to saving it up for, what is it, 8 weeks now. So just hopefully I'll stay there.
Have you been injured or just playing second grade?
No, I've just been playing reserve grade. I had a late start to the season and sort of haven't worked my way back yet.
Well, perhaps Penrith relaxed a little. Those darts out of dummy half in the first half, that really got them, got you rolling and got them on the back foot. Did you plan that, or the avenue just there for you?
The forwards were going forward, and so it kept them guessing. We had got a good roll on, and once the markers started taking our runners, it left a couple of holes for them to go through. So as long as if the forwards can go forward and quick play the balls, then it makes it easier for me.
Okay, well, congratulations on your form and keep it up, David.
Okay, could I just say hello to my mum out there? She's been sick. Get well soon.
Good. Thank you, David.
Well, David's played a great game for his mum today. She'll be pretty happy at home. I'm sure she's feeling a whole lot better. Great performance. And now we can go down to Brad Fittler with Debbie.
Thanks, Warren. Brad, down 28 at half-time. At least the side showed a bit of heart to come back.
Yeah, that's what Gus asked for. We never thought we were really going to win the game, but, Gus just thought positive effort, show a bit of courage and show our home crowd a bit.
What about yourself playing at lock? The rep sides are coming up. A lot of debate about where you best slot in. Where's your preference?
I'm just happy that I'm making, but
come on, they all say that. Come on, tell us where you want to go.
I like to play 5'8", but Loz is there, so I don't know, wherever they slot me, I'm pretty happy with that.
And Penrith, around the halfback area, we had Alexander coming on today, and then Carter, and there's a lot of changing around. How does the team play around that?
I didn't know what was happening out there, but I think we just got to get one side and stick to that. A lot of blokes getting shoved around, changing sides in defence, and just makes everyone a bit more confused. So we're just concentrating on the top 13, and I think we'll go a bit better.
Okay, thanks for talking to us, Brad. Back to you, Warren.
Brad Fittler did score a brilliant individual try today, but it was David O'Donnell who scored the match winner and has taken out Jacko's judgment today. So a good second half from Penrith, but a good and even better first half from Manly, and then they came good right at the end of the second to snatch victory here. And really, Ian Roberts did well to link up there. Stephen Menzies twisted very nicely here, and we've got to give as much credit to Menzies here as O'Donnell. That was a fine piece of football late in the game. They needed to put it together, and they did. Now, with the representative sides coming up, a few performances that will be of note. Obviously, Ian Roberts getting through that game with only a minor injury scare in the end, which is pretty good for him. And Mark Carroll, I thought Mark Carroll was also outstanding up front. He's made 21 hit-ups, and
big Spud Carroll. I know he's desperate for a State of Origin jersey. Of course, Brad Fittler. Brad Fittler was always going to be in the representative side. As he said there, he wants to play 5'8". Personally, I think he's better at lock forward. He can get more involved, and he's a good defender as well. So Jack Elsgood also, I believe, has really put his representative claims down there this afternoon.
Yep. All right. That wraps it up here from Penrith Football Stadium. Hope you enjoyed that match. Next week, we'll be down at Endeavour Oval, as it used to be called, for Cronulla versus North Sydney. See you then.